Hey everybody, it's GoblinoX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another Premier Draft of Triple Rivals of Ixalan. Without further ado, let's get into the draft. We've got a Sadistic Sky Marcher here for a Vampires deck, just a 2-2 flying lifelinking threat. Really hard to outrace that kind of ability when you are able to get past your opponent's blockers and get a nice cushion of life gain at the same time. So I like the Sky Marcher a lot, and we'll probably take that. We'd love to wheel the Dusk Legion Zealot, but that would be pretty lucky because it's one of Black's best commons. There's not too much else in the pack. Spirewinder's a pretty beefy flyer, so it does play well in like blue-white flyers and stuff. Stubhorn Sentry's a solid blocker early game that ascends into a decent 3-3 body. Tuscadon's an okay finisher. Yeah, not a super wild pack outside of Sky Marcher and Dusk Legion Zealot. I think those are the best two cards, so I don't think we'll get the Zealot back at all. Pack 1 pick number 2 contains 0 vampires, because I love this format. We'll take a Luminous Bonds, though, because that puts us into black-white with a decent removal spell. The original Ixalan and Rivals of Ixalan did have the kind of issue where you can get railroaded really easily with all of the different creature types in the set, really wanting to have a bunch of other cards the creature type, so when you just immediately miss on any creatures of the same type, it can be super rough, but we'll stick to our guns for now with Luminous Bonds because there's nothing really powerful in this pack to convince us to go any other direction yet. So Luminous Bonds it is. For pack 1 pick number 3, there are 0 vampires again, let's go. But there's a Needletooth Raptor, which is a solid dinosaur. If you have some ways to get it dealt damage, it can just trump block and then trade into any of your opponent's creatures with that 5 damage. It's also Deadeye Righoller, which has a great enter the battlefield effect as long as you can attack with a creature before you play it. There are plenty of flyers and unblockable creatures in blue to help you do that. So it's a great card in the color, and maybe we can push to blue-white with this Luminous Bonds. There's also Water Knot, which is basically blue's version of Luminous Bonds in the format. Or we could take another really narrow card, like a Daring Buccaneer that needs us to have a million pirates, much like the Sky Marcher needs us to have a million vampires. I think I'd rather take the Deadeye Righoller here, potentially move towards blue-white flyers instead. If we're going to see 0 vampires, then it looks like we're going to see 0 vampires. So another copy of Luminous Bonds it is. Pick number 5 and another copy of Deadeye Righoller looks pretty great to me. There's also Moment of Craving to stick to black-white and just have some great removal spells, even if we don't have any creatures. But I think a second Deadeye Righoller looks great to me. Jungleborn Pioneer is also pretty nice, and pick 5, decently late towards Merfolk maybe. But I think I'm just going to ignore creature types this draft with how things have gone so far, at least for now. Another 0 vampire pack. Also a 0 playable pack. I don't know, Divine Verdict's fine. Luminous Bonds is probably a little better just for the efficiency. I'll take a Traveler's Amulet here, I think. Little bit of mana fixing if we find anything super powerful, super splashable. Pick 7, we can finally take our first vampire, but we can also just take a third Deadeye Righoller and just have all of our 4-mana plays be this card, which is a pretty good start for basically any blue deck in the format, so I'm just going to take the Righoller there. Alright, every vampire in pack 1 clumped up into a single pack, so that's not what you want to see. Especially when I gave up on vampires and took a pirate out of the one pack that actually had vampires in it. So, alright, I guess we take Jadebearer towards green-blue Merfolk, or Recover if we want to stay just blue-black nonsense, but I think we're more likely blue-white than blue-black, and I'll take the Jadebearer because we saw a relatively late Jungleborn Pioneer earlier, so it's possible green-blue Merfolk is open, and we get to play all these Deadeye Righollers in that deck alongside a Jadebearer. Here there's really nothing super playable. I'll just take the Recover towards black if we end up still in that color. I don't think it's super likely. Now a Sun Sentinel is fine filler. In white, another Sun Sentinel is fine filler. I guess we're blue-white again. Everybody's fighting over all the creature types and we're not wheeling anything good towards creature type focused decks. Snubhorn Sentry is actually good in blue-white flyers. It sits there and blocks all the 2/1s and 2/2s, and then it becomes a 3/3 in the late game to trade up into higher mana value cards. So I do like that a lot. Pack 2, pick 1. What have we got? Well, we have double Luminous Bonds and a Snubhorn Sentry for like pretty good white spells, so I don't think I'm pushing to green-blue Merfolk and taking this Jade Light Ranger, even though it is the best card in the pack. I think we're pretty locked in on white at this point. We could still like try to move to green-white, I guess, and take this, and just be not aligned to any creature types, because we're definitely not like green-white dinos or anything. I think I'd rather just stick to my guns here and be in blue-white flyers, but there's nothing good for a blue-white flyers deck. I already have double Luminous Bonds, triple Deadeye Rig Hauler, and a Divine Verdict. I don't think I need a Water Knot, so could still take it just to keep people out of blue. But I guess I will speculate on Jade Light Ranger. I just don't think it's likely to happen here. Kitesail Corsair looks incredible. 2 mana flyer. Basically, as long as you're on the offensive and you can keep attacking with it. It doesn't block as a flyer, but it certainly attacks in as a flyer and helps you get your raid triggers on cards like Deadeye Rig Hauler. Pretty happy to take that. Pack 2, pick 3. 3 incredible cards. I've got 3 Rig Haulers already for bounce spells, so I think I'm going to pass up on Crashing Tide and Rig Hauler and take the Squire's Devotion. But these are both, as I've said before, just excellent cards, excellent tempo plays. Bouncing and drawing you a card, or bouncing and getting a 3-2 on the board. Just really good. But Squire's Devotion is almost impossible to race on a flyer. Pick number 4. This is all some poop. I do like Trailblazer if we ended up in blue-red, but we're locked in on white. I don't think we're going white-red or anything. Just take a Legion Conquistador, which can be fine if we get a bunch of copies of it. Pick number 5, another Luminous Bonds. It's also the Pirate Forerunner, which means it searches for your best pirate, puts it on top. Yeah, we're not going to end up in that direction. Another Luminous Bonds it is. Pick number 6, another Snubhorn Sentry, a Martyr of Dusk, which is great to trade off. A Soul of the Rapids for the top end of the curve, which is just impossible to interact with. Lots of great options here. Think I'm pretty low on creatures in general. Kinda want to take a finisher, take a Soul of the Rapids here. Now we get another Snubhorn Sentry. Perfectly happy with that. Another Snubhorn Sentry. All the Snubhorn Sentries, nobody wants them. That's fine, I'll take them then. Another Divine Verdict just in case. Not gonna dirtle around with any of these, I think. A few filler vampires in this pack, so we could have been black-white vampires, but it would have been a pretty mediocre black-white vampires deck with the look of the average vampires we're seeing here. Unless pack 3 ends up just showing us all of the best uncommons and like a vampire rare or something. But yeah, blue-white flyers. It's like a fine spot to be. We need more flyers. We only have 2 of them right now. But we've got excellent removal here. An excellent bounce. Pick 10 is nothing, so I'll rare draft this random rare. Pick 11 is nothing. Pick 12 is some random green dinos. If anybody's got a good dino ramp deck going. Another Sun Sentinel. Certainly playable. I really liked Sun Sentinel back when the format was drafted how it was supposed to be, which is 2 packs of Rivals of Ixalan and 1 pack of just Ixalan. Because in Ixalan there was a common that was a 2-mana aura that gave +2/+2 in flying. So you could build your own Sarah Angel with Sun Sentinel, get a 2/2 vigilance on the board, then give it +2/+2 flying. Now you've got a 4/4 flying vigilance, which is super hard to beat. I'm going to take Curious Obsession here. This card works excellently on any flyers. And now we have to just take cards like Spirewinder, Exultant Skymarcher, Soul of the Rapids over like anything in our future picks because we only have 2 flyers right now. But we have a couple auras that work excellently on flyers. Really need them to get going. Okay, there are no flyers in this pack, so we take another Squire's Devotion for more cards that go onto flyers really well. We also opened up the Merfolk Mythic, which is a little sad for what could have been if we were in green-blue. Could also take Secrets of the Golden City for great card draw, but I'm going to get another Squire's Devotion in this archetype. Act 3, pick 3, no flyers. Am I getting contested over blue-white flyers? Feels like I'm getting contested over just everything. Take a 4th Luminous Bonds or a 4th Deadeye Rig Hauler. It's kind of awkward either way. Do need to up this creature count. I'll get the 4th Rig Hauler, I guess. Alright, beautiful. We found a flyer. Come on in, Spirewinder. You'll do perfectly fine. Alright, beautiful. The one awkward thing about all the flyers that we're finding being 4 mana flyers is that I've got 4 4-drops already with all these Deadeye Rig Haulers. But you do what you gotta do. Alright, we get a Secrets of the Golden City now for excellent card draw. Happy with that. Thinking about cutting Traveler's Amulet for sure, but also some amount of Divine Verdicts. Beautiful. Resplendent Griffin is exactly what the Doctor ordered for this deck. A 3 mana flyer that fits into our curved greats, and it wears Curious Obsession and our double Squire's Devotion excellently. Super happy to see that. Super, super happy. And pick 9, there were a few flyers in the pack alongside the Curious Obsession, so we might be able to get a pick 9 flyer here as well, which would also be quite helpful. Might have to cut Legion Conquistador, doesn't look like we're going to get a second to make that card playable. Alright, another 3 mana flyer, let's go. Everything's coming up gauntlet now. 3 mana 2/3 flyer. Join the party. Pick 9, we got another Soul of the Rapids or another Legion Conquistador. I think I'd rather double up the souls and give up on the Conquistador here. This is 24 cards, just play this in 16 lands, call it a deck. Sure. I've already cut 2 Divine Verdicts, I'm not going to take a third that I'm just going to cut, so we'll grab a Riverwise Augur that I don't think I'm playing. But we're just drafting the highest rarity cards for collection purposes, vault progress, anything like that. We'll grab the off-color flyer. Now a Sworn Guardian that I will not be playing either. Cut a 4th Deadeye Rig Hauler for a land is probably worth it with double Soul of the Rapids at 5 mana. We're really trying to get to, and a lot of 4-drops in general. I don't think this is a 16 land deck. Could also just be a 41 card special. Just give up on cutting anything. That'd make it nice and simple. No deck building required if we just play all 41 cards. Sure, whatever. We're just gonna jam today. I'm ready to get some flying damage in. I'm ready to get some lifelinkers going. Let's just jam it. So here's a look at the final deck list for today. We're on a blue-white flyers build. The goal here is to get a flying threat like Sky Marcher, Griffin, a Spirewinder, something like that. Get that onto the board to get in for a bunch of evasive damage, and slap a Squire's Devotion onto it to make it impossible for our opponent to outrace us. Really, really nice to just slam down any of these flyers with any of these auras. Curious Obsession being another great one, drawing us a bunch of cards throughout the game. So we've got some solid cheap blockers on the ground like Snubhorn Sentries and Sun Sentinels, as well as some great bounce spells with 4 copies of Deadeye Rig Hauler to try to slow our opponent down long enough to finish them off with all of our flying damage. But we've also got some removal with 3 copies of Luminous Bonds and a little bit of card draw to keep ahead in card advantage potentially with this Secrets of the Golden City. So really solid, really basic looking blue-white flyers deck today. It is my favorite archetype in the format because I feel like most of the times that I try to draft a specific creature type, I get cut off pretty quickly. We were trying to draft vampires at the start today and then just saw 0 vampires in like 6 packs in a row. So that's rough. And yeah, this is one of those archetypes that you can hop onto and is pretty powerful even when everybody else in the draft pod is taking all of the Vampire Lords, the Merfolk Lords, and the Pirate Lords, and you just can't line into any of those really easy lanes to be in. So yeah, pretty happy with the deck. I think it's one of the better decks we could have ended up in our draft pod, but we'll see how it plays out for us as we head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. No flyers in the hand yet, but we've got a great defensive hand to slow our opponent down till we find a threat. Got a Snubhorn Sentry, got a Rig Hauler we could attack with the Snubhorn Sentry potentially, and we've got a Luminous Bonds to stop our opponent's scariest threat. And now we've drawn into the Resplendent Griffin, which is a great draw. We now have a flying threat to throw a Squire's Devotion onto, plus this hand's pretty good at getting towards the City's Blessing. The Squire's Devotion's 2 permanents off of the 1 spell. Thrashing Brontodon, so I could Squire's Devotion, but then they can blow it up. They can't blow up the Vampire token it makes, at least. I could Rig Holler the Brontodon back to their hand to slow them down, or I can just Luminous Bonds it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 permanents if I play Devotion. Let's just play the Rig Holler this turn, I think. Just slow them down, and that puts us to 7 permanents. So if I top deck a land, I can go land Squire's Devotion, and that'll be 10 permanents. Which could be worth losing the Devotion to the Brontodon. Ooh, and they play Freebooter instead. So Devotion sticks for a turn. Okay, so I could ascend immediately by playing Squire's Devotion, but I could also just cast this Soul of the Rapids. For a hexproofing threat, I think hexproof Squire's Devotion's a big deal. So let's play the Soul of the Rapids instead here. And then we can still make sure that we have City's Blessing next turn. 2 permanents to play. I guess I don't have the mana to cast both of these in 1 turn, but the Devotion itself is 2 permanents off 1 card. If they play the Brontodon, I can't Luminous Bonds it to stop its ability, actually. Yeah, that whole Luminous Bonds idea was not ideal. At least I realized that before we actually did it. I thought this was like the better removal we get nowadays. That's like only 2 mana and it also stops abilities. So yeah, Brontodon kills Squire's Devotion, no matter what. And Bombard makes me really happy that I didn't put Devotion onto that. Okay, so land means we have 6, 7, 8, 10 permanents if this resolves, and it will resolve because they don't have the mana up to blow it up yet. Oh, you know what I could have done here? What I should have done here, more accurately, could have put the Squire's Devotion on the Snubhorn Sentry. Since the Brontodon can just blow it up anyway, it's not going to stick around on the Soul of the Rapids, and if I had put the Squire's Devotion on the Snubhorn Sentry, that would have attacked into the Brontodon this turn, and we would have hit for 7 damage. Ooh, maybe the Squire's Devotion does stick around. Yeah, they don't have the mana to blow it up yet still. Okay. I guess it did actually play better that we put it on the Soul of the Rapids. Well, I mean, if this life total matters, then it played better. If our life total doesn't matter, then we still have hit for like 1 less damage than we would have if we put it on Sentry. Alright, they're going for the outrace, so the life total is going to matter here. A green-red deck with 5 mana up, even if they pop the Brontodon, I don't think we can expect our Sentry to actually attack in. So we might as well kill this creature here. That way if we draw one of our bounce spells, we get to fully kill the token also. I could double block the Brontodon, then they sack it in response to kill Devotion. I guess that would tax them on 1 mana, so it matters if they have a 6-drop in hand, but it looks like they don't, so they're just going to crack the Brontodon and Soul of the Rapids anyway. I guess I could have kept the Snubhorn Sentry on board by double blocking Brontodon, because they would have sacked it before combat damage. Yeah, no, I don't think it mattered here. Because even if I still had the Snubhorn, it's not attacking into these two. Here's a new Snubhorn. I don't feel the need to Luminous Bonds any of these. Like, this thing's got hexproof. We just save Luminous Bonds for as soon as they find a reach creature or a flyer. I don't expect a flyer from red and green. There's not a lot of red flyers in this format, and green never gets flyers. I think it's basically just reach creatures that could save them here. Or they could outrace us. And we've hit 4 mana. 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 We' Nothing but lands here, so there's a tiny chance they hit like +2/+2 to everybody or something. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm still not gonna cast Luminous Bonds just in case there's some flyer that I'm not thinking of. There are reach creatures in the set, for sure. Not a lot, but it's possible, so just play it safe and hold the Luminous Bonds, and we do get there in the end. Don't think I played it out perfectly, but all of my kind of loose, awkward lines worked out okay for us, so that's nice at the very least. But yeah, I think we could have found some more clever interactions there, like maybe the devotion on the sentry for a big swing early, stuff like that. All right, here we are on the play for game number 2. I have to mulligan this, right? We're not on the draw, so we're not going to draw a card on the first turn. We have to hit 2 lands before we can do anything. I don't think I can keep a 2-lander with nothing but 4 and 5 drops. This is just as bad. It's slightly better to a 3-lander this time. I mean, we keep this one and pray. Fingers perpetually crossed at all times. Well, now we get to start on turn 4 instead of turn 5, I guess. Alright, well, our opponent isn't doing anything either, so we might be fine. To just start on turn 5 with Soul of the Rapids? Yeah? I kind of feel like I have to play the Rig Hauler because we don't know that we're going to top deck land 5. Yeah. No value Rig Hauler, let's go. If I had a 5th land in hand, I might just wait and play the Soul next turn. But since I don't, I'm going to make sure I'm actually doing something here. Even if I don't hit the land. Okay, we hit the land. So here's the Soul. Soul of the Rapids with a Curious Obsession and a Squire's Devotion is going to go hard this game. Our opponent's also going to go hard. All their dinosaurs cost 2 less to cast. Here comes some 6-drops this turn. Thank goodness for at least 1 Luminous Bonds in the hand and the Squire's Devotion to try to outrace them. But yeah, they could have some big plays here. If they have a bunch of 3-mana dinos, they just dump their whole hand. But if they had a bunch of 3-mana dinos, they would have cast something turn 3. It is a Dreadmaw. Alright. Come on, land. Alright. I don't know if I actually do want to play Devotion over Obsession. Land gives us the option of going Luminous Bonds plus Squire's Devotion, which is pretty beautiful. I think card draw is just really important, so I'm still going to Curious Obsession instead. And we're absolutely on Luminous Bonds over Squire's Devotion. Maybe that's wrong. But I'm just going to Bonds the 6/6. I doubt anything bigger than that's coming. Yeah, maybe it's supposed to be Curious Obsession, Squire's Devotion there instead. So we still have the Bonds for flyers to stop the Soul. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I probably should not have Bondsed. Looks fine though, because I was going to have to Luminous Bonds one of the Dreadmaws if they were just going to play 2 in a row. So, same differences would have happened either way. Could double block to threaten to kill, but then their combat trick that they could have here goes so much harder. Well, never mind. If it's just +1/+1, then yeah, that combat trick doesn't go super great. If I double block. Alright. This should be really hard for our opponent to find an answer to. They're only dealing 6 to me a turn, and I'm gaining 5 a turn. Again, it would be really nice to have a Luminous Bonds in our hand, just in case they hit a big white flyer. But, at this point, I don't think... Okay, at this point, I really could not afford to just hold it in my hand. That is so many dinos. Knight of the Stampede's going crazy. It is a full-on Stampede out there. That was... How much mana value was that? 1, 2, 3, 8... That was 13 mana value of dinosaurs in 1 turn there, thanks to the Knight of the Stampede. Yeah, that's spooky, for sure. Well, I guess we get to kill that at the cost of just a 1/1 here, and we gain a life. when we lose that 1-1. Because they are actually tapped out this time. I guess maybe it's better to double block the Dreadmaw while they're tapped out. That was really just revenge for casting 13 mana of dinos. More than it was the right play. Sometimes you gotta send a message, though. Should have played this land. I don't know why I didn't. I've just been scarred by Virus Beetle. All my Kamigawa Neon Dynasty thoughts rushing back to my mind. It's like, no. They're gonna make you discard your instant if you don't hold an extra land. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be terrible. Take 6, go to 19. Oh, take 9. Totally did not notice the token there. Ooh, that's a good draw. They're down to 1. They've got 1 turn to kill me, and I'm at 20 still, so... we'll see if they can do that. But I doubt it. They're looking over the Soul of the Rapids. They are definitely shouting in their mind right now. They're like... frustration text coming out. Bunch of hashtags and asterisks. Naturalize the Luminous Bonds. They don't even have 20 power on board, though. They have 19 power, so even if I had no blockers, we're still fine. We need to not damage the Ceratops, because I could accidentally give them too much life, I think. Oops. This is the best blocks. They could have an edict effect that makes me sack 1 creature, but not in green-white, so... I am cool with lowering myself down to only Soul of the Rapids as my creature. And there you go. Alright, really slow hand, but just suiting up a hexproofing flying threat with the ability to draw you an extra card each turn and gain you life every time it hits your opponent is certainly enough to win some games, and we are 2-0 heading into Game 3. Here we are against Flordaman, a streamer. We kind of have to mulligan this. It's pretty flooded with a double blue card and no blue source. This is super keepable. We got Corsair into Devotion into Spirewinder. Ditch the 5-drop. Flordaman starts with Fanatical Firebrand, which clears out our Kitesail Corsair, which is sad. Red-white, there's a Relentless Raptor. That is super duper aggro then. Well, here's the Corsair to die to the Firebrand. Yep, take 3 a turn from this Raptor for a while. A Trailblazer. Yeah, it's just hyper aggro stuff. Not a lot we can do here. We were in a forced mull into a pretty slow hand, so we're probably just going to get rolled by this aggro deck. Yep. Not much of a game, but we are very dead. Okay. On to game number 4. Alright, here we are for game number 4. Another slow hand here. With our opponent on the play again. Hopefully not on the draw against aggro twice in a row. At least this time, I'm just going to not mulligan. I'm just going to keep this one. At least we'll have a 7-card hand on the draw against aggro, if it's a repeat. Alright, blue-white. Blue-white Flyers mirror match. Oh boy. Yeah, this is the mirror match, but they're on the play and they drew a 3-drop. I think we have to just bonds the Griffin. Stop some damage here. Because they're going to ascend before us, which means that gets to attack as a 3/3. Not right now, but it will in the future. So since I'm going to have to probably bonds it later anyway, we might as well bonds it now. Golden Guardian is real nasty. So if they ever flip this, they get another 4/4 every single turn off of it. So they are going to have to play something bigger than a 4/4 to do that, so that this fights into that and they don't lose a creature. Or they need to get like another 2/2 to be pacified, and then they can just kill both of their pacified threats to flip the Golden Guardian. I mean, they could just sack Famished Paladin to do it. They can activate it twice, fight Griffin and fight Paladin, flip the Golden Guardian into the Gold Forge Garrison. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not enough permanents. We just play another Spirewinder here, because we don't have to bounce anything yet. Can this bounce? It's just creatures, okay. I was like, can this bounce lands? And I was like, wait a second. Which just doesn't really like Boomerang in the modern era. They don't like giving people the ability to bounce lands, because it leads to some less than fun games. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if I play Squire's Devotion. That makes Spirewinder 3, 4 power and lifelink. Not enough to kill the Pterodon on an attack or anything, but enough to get in for 3 and gain 4 life here. And then we just Rig Holler 3 turns in a row after this. I think that's fine. Because the Rig Hollers aren't going to do any attacking anyway, they're just bounce spells. So I don't think we need another 3/2 on the ground right now. We would only be playing it to make them recast Pterodon next turn. I guess now they can have Golden Guardian fight the Griffin and the Pterodon, because it can fight the Pterodon without the Pterodon dying. And that can get it flipped, but it soaks up most of their mana, and then all they can do is make tokens on the ground, which I can keep killing with Rig Hollers. So the triple Rig Holler in hand makes us feel pretty safe against them ever trying to do the garrison. No, don't play another flyer. Now they actually get to kill one of my flyers here. And the Curious Obsession draw. I guess the Curious Obsession draw lets me put Curious Obsession on the other Spirewinder so I can attack both and I kill their Spirewinder no matter how they block. If one of these was something I could play as a bounce spell pre-combat, it'd be so good. Or instant speed bounce would be incredible. But since I can't do it till after I attack anyway, I think I have to pre-combat the Obsession, let them kill the Obsessed Spirewinder, but I get to kill their Spirewinder, which is important. So that I can actually get future attacks in. If they don't just keep recasting Pterodon every turn. And if they do keep recasting Pterodon every turn, I still gain 4 every turn. Man, the mirror match is kind of annoying. We found opponents that can block us? That's not nice. We're supposed to be unblockable. Casting flyers, get out of here. Skedaddle. Yeah, no, this is straight up a top deck war now already. Because we're just going to keep gaining 4 and bouncing Pterodon every turn. Somebody's got to draw something. We've got 2 more Luminous Bonds in our deck. That can get us there. But I'm sure our opponent has removal that could also get them there, killing our Spirewinder. I guess we could also hit another copy of Squire's Devotion and just make the Spirewinder 5 power. Soul of the Rapids doesn't help a lot. I could jump attack with the Soul of the Rapids. That would make it so Spirewinder does hit for 4 damage one time, but also it'd be a jump attack, so it'd be kind of sad. I'm going to play the flyer over the Deadeye Rig Holler. Because all the Rig Holler is doing is just taxing their 5 mana towards Pterodon every turn. not like actively accomplishing much. Maybe we could draw our draw 3. That would be an incredible draw. And we've got a lot of good draws. Squire's Devotion is one of them. It's a 6 toughness Spirewinder. 5 power, 6 toughness Spirewinder cannot get killed by their flyers, but if I put it on Soul of the Rapids, then my soul trades into theirs. Okay, yeah, we put it on the Spirewinder. My Soul of the Rapids trading to theirs is not excellent. We are just praying they have not drawn instant speed interaction still. If they have, we can't really do anything. Oh, negate? Main deck negate? Been a while since I've seen that in draft. I mean, it works. Now we have nothing. Yep. Now we're just passing. Like, I can still attack with this and offer the trade into the soul, but that doesn't seem worth it. That's not nothing. Another threat. They're just going to take over the game with this Golden Guardian now because I can't break through. Which means I don't get to get anywhere on the ground. So you just flip this and then they just make infinite 4/4s now. This is really bad. Just needed our removal for the Pterodon. So much earlier than we're going to find it. You don't do anything right now. Guess I can at least cast you without losing on the raid trigger. I mean, even at this point, a single Luminous Bonds can win us the game. Depending on what's in their hand. If the Pterodon is Luminous Bonds, then they can't do anything about the Spirewinder getting in for 4 a turn and gaining us 4 a turn. Even with Squire's Devotion, Luminous Bond still gets there. Come on, top deck. Gotta do better than this. Because again, we can still Luminous Bonds the Pterodon, and then we have the Soul of the Rapids to block their Soul of the Rapids, so theirs can't attack in, and it can't block our Spirewinder. Hey, here comes Negate 2. Okay, no double main deck Negate. See what they've got here, though. Okay, we get the swing in. I think we are bouncing one of these 4/4s. Slow down their counterattacks now that we don't have a 4/5 up to block. I'm at 40 life, but against an infinite swarm of 4/4s, that can go down pretty quick. Oh. Oh my god, okay. One of those was the top deck this turn. Wait, what? Okay. They didn't read Curious Obsession. Let's go. Well, that's definitely helpful, that they didn't read Curious Obsession. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like 2 creatures get in. They're definitely not dead if we attack all. I could attack with both the flyers, but then they get to crack back for life gain. Okay, I mean, Kumana's Awakening is still a really big deal. They draw an additional card each turn here. They must have, like... I have no idea. I was gonna say, I imagine the Curious Obsession was stuck in their hand, but they weren't casting it because they weren't in a position where they could be attacking. But then they cast it and didn't attack, so that's not the reason they didn't cast that. So maybe they did top deck the Awakening and the Obsession at like the same time, somehow? That was kind of weird. Yeah, the Obsession made the Soul of the Rabbits exactly big enough to attack into ours, so they could get the life gain swing and draw a card, and that's what I was worried about there. And the Awakening, of course, now they draw 2 every turn, so they are really digging for removal for the Spirewinder, or just more flyers. It's another thing to dig for. 3 toughness, 2 toughness, boom. 3 power, 1 power, boom. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers. 5 blockers and they're at 10 basically. Block, 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 block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, maybe we kill them? Hold up. No, they have 6 blockers. No, we don't kill them. Let's just take the trades and preserve our life total on the ground. Because we're getting some profitable trades. We're trading 3/3s into 4/4s. Martyr of Dusk. Yeah, I think we're still definitely never attacking on the ground. They don't quite have to chump yet. But they will next turn. Next turn they have to attack with their soul and trade it into ours at the very least. Or they have to hit removal, but they've drawn so many extra cards. Feels like they can get there. Okay, I'm just going to take the damage now that we don't have super profitable blocks anymore without our 3/3s. Corsair's only flying on attacks. Snubhorn Sentry is not removal. Oh my god, they have to chump? If I attack both, they trade there. They're at 6, take 4, stay at 2. So we attack with just Spirewinder and force the chump to keep the Soul of the Rapids on our board. Moment of triumph at exactly the right time. The final... their literal final chance of finding the interaction, and they did. Well, that sucks a lot. So, do I just rig Holler a 4/4 here because I can't target the Hexproofer anyway? I guess. Yeah, now they are in the lead. That's all it takes. Man, that's rough. The timing of that. The fact that it was a combat trick too, so we didn't even get to know that they had the out until the last possible second. Till after we declare attacks. If it was just like Luminous Bonds at sorcery speed, that would have felt so much less bad. Yeah, now we are slowly losing. Not that slowly even, it's only going to take 4 or 5 hits. They do have to draw a card on their upkeep. They might mill out. If we can survive long enough, it's going to be hard to do that. Yeah, no, we're going to get killed too fast, I think. 1 for 1 there. 2 for 1 there, and we're just out of creatures now. We have no good counterattacks anyway, so might as well. Yeah. This is really sad because we are 100% losing this game, but we're losing it really slow. We have to sit here for like 5 turns for them to kill us. Because they're winning with card advantage rares like this that just grind out the game. They get a 4/4 every single turn no matter what. They get an extra card every single turn no matter what. It is a loss in the end, but I still think our deck played out really impressively for, again, running up against double card advantage rare for the board stall. With just all commons, uncommons here. We did what we could. But now we get to slowly die. Got 9 cards, 8 cards left. Yeah, we cannot mill them out. There's nothing I draw that even gets rid of their Solar Rapids, so the only point in not attacking is just so I stop them from attacking with theirs. Or the only point in not trading it off, but there's no good trades. I just trade with a 3/3. Yeah, it doesn't. We just click OK. That's our only option for the rest of this game. Basically. Raptor Companion. Okay. So they drew the combat trick the actual last turn they could for the Solar Rapids to beat ours. Which means if we drew our second Luminous Bonds 1 turn sooner, we would have won. Because they would have had the combat trick but no flyer to block with at that point. That's so disappointing. So close to greatness, but outvalued in the long run. They have 3 card advantage rares. This is going to be astronomically hard to win in a board stall. Alright. Very solid work from our deck all around, even if it is a loss in the end. Now that we see they have 3 card advantage rares, we were very outclassed for a board stall. And being a blue-white Flyers mirror match, it's going to be a board stall because we can just block each other. 2-2 it is as we head into game number 5. Here we are for game 5. We've drawn actually all of our 1 and 2 drops this time. Last couple games we've started on like turn 4 or 5. It's been astronomically slow hands. I was gonna say, I swear to God I have like 4 2 drops in here and 3 1 drops. Well, here they are. Getting us started real quick for game number 5. Playing against a white deck with nothing turn 1. Arena was still waiting for them though, so I imagine they have the +2/+2 for 1 white mana spell. Because that would be an instant that Arena would be holding for them here. Unless they're one of those weird people that likes to play the whole game in full control. That's a possibility too. But I imagine they have the +2/+2 tricks. Let's just get a flyer down first so I don't attack a 2/2 into something that gets combat tricked up into killing it. Uh-oh. We do need to hit some lands. I guess I only need to hit 1 land right now, but any permanents are good for Snubhorn Sentry. And any turn you play a land, you can play a land and a creature and get 2 permanents on the board towards that city's blessing. Legion Conquistador. Well, Sun Sentinels are going to suck in this game. Because we're going to have to break through a wall of 2/2s. Yeah, 3 2/2s here. Sun Sentinels are not going to get anywhere. Luckily, we are a flyer-oriented deck, though. And a 3/3 works really well against Conquistador, but draw a 4-drop instead of a land. It's gonna be awkward. Gonna have to just chill here. Got 6 permanents on the board though. If I hit a land, I play my 7th permanent, then Luminous Bonds is my 8th permanent. And we absolutely Luminous Bonds the Sky Marcher. Okay. We started with 2 lands this game, and on 2 lands we shall remain after 3 draw steps. I think 4 draw steps at this point. No, we were on the play, so I think just 3 draw steps. But still, not great odds there. Definitely not going to the casino today. Hey! Complain and you shall be rewarded. That's what I learned today. Come on in, Kitesail Corsair. I'm gonna wait to cast the secrets till we have the city's blessing. We're very close now. 8 permanents on the board, so if we hit another land, then we have got there. Actually, yeah, another land would be excellent here. Yep, because then City's Blessing, so the sentries can attack in on the ground too. I could even get really aggressive if I wanted to and Luminous Bonds the Paladin so I can attack with my entire board. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to get really aggressive. That makes it so even the 2/2 Sun Sentinels have good attacks here. Because they just trade into a Forerunner if they want to trade. Or we poke our opponent down to 2. If they don't find a way to deal with the Corsair, they're dead. Radiant Destiny buff the whole board. There's no lifelinkers there, so they're dead. Oh, no, they have Moment of Triumph. That's right. The +2/+2 gain 2 life trick. So if I double block, they use the trick, kill both my Sentinels. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shoot, we might actually get outraced now. Because it all has Vigilance, so I don't get anything done on the ground. And because they're gonna gain the 2 life to stay at 2. Yeah, so... I mean, I definitely get outraced if I try to double block here and lose both Sun Sentinels. Oh, cool, they're just gonna use it right now? Well, now we know they don't get to use it on blocks. Which means we can send in the 3/3 Snubhorn sentries. I wasn't going to send them in because they were going to have the moment in hand. But now I do get to have these trade. Yeah, and they're going to concede. I guess it didn't matter when they cast it. I'm still glad they cast it right then because I might not have noticed that it wouldn't have mattered when they cast it. Like, it was still very much the right play not to double block because we would have got really badly here. Since we didn't double block, they've only got 3 creatures on board, and we just attack them with everybody. They can only block 3 of our 5 creatures, and they take lethal here no matter what, even with that Moment of Triumph life gain. I did not realize that math with that life gain, and I was concerned about them blocking and momenting to kill one of my sentries. So had they not done that, I might have punted and missed lethal here. But since they got it out of the way immediately, we know exactly how much life they're at. 4. Boom, we would have attacked all in lethal tier. All right. All right. Much closer than I thought it would be. That Radiant Destiny did provide a lot of damage while holding up all their blockers still, but it's just slightly not enough there. And we are 3-2 heading into game 6. At least a 50-50 win rate this time around. All right, here we are for game 6. Mono blue hand that can't cast anything till turn 4 onward. We're on the draw this time around, though, with 9 white sources in the deck. About 1 out of every 3 draws here, a little bit less. Sky Marcher is double white, which is pretty rough for the mono blue opener. I think I still have to mulligan here. It's a gamble of a keep, but it might be a fine gamble. I'm gonna mulligan, though. Well, this is worse. That's 2 double blue cards with no blue sources. We are on the draw here, and our first island lets us at least cast a Griffin. Double blue, though. Like, these are not getting cast unless I hit 6 lands total. Well, no, because I ditch a plains, so it'd be 3 plains double island if I draw perfectly. If there's 2 islands on top of this deck, the hand's good, but basically anything else, it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna go to 5 cards. And this is the best we've had so far, which is kind of sad, noting that it is a 5-card hand. We're just gonna ditch the high mana value stuff, just play some sentries and throw a devotion on something, I guess. Yeah. What are you gonna do? We are on the draw, so it's not the complete end of the world to be on a 5-card hand, but it definitely lowers our chances quite a bit. Curious Obsession could help, but we're against a blue deck with Mistcloaked Herald, probably a Merfolk deck which plays a ton of bounce spells, and bounce spells are incredible against auras like Curious Obsession. They don't have the mana to bounce it right now, so I draw at least 1 card off of it here. So even if they do bounce the Sentry, the Curious Obsession has paid for itself. It cycled itself away for 1 card. So I'll just do it here, because we need to draw into lands. We gotta cycle it. Basically, pretend I spent 1 blue mana to discard this and draw a card to try to find lands. Water Knot. That works too. We don't have anything to blow up a Water Knot. I can Deadeye Righoller to bounce my Sentry later. But not if we don't find the lands. And it's fine that we didn't get to, or we didn't declare an attack with Sentry there, because the only way that Sentry's ever doing anything is if I bounce it back to my hand, in which case the Obsession falls off anyway. So I'm not going to keep attacking just to keep an Obsession on my water-knotted creature. Ooh. Spicy draws? What did I put on the bottom again? A 4-mana and 5-mana spell? Well, those were the right tucks. Those were the right cards to put on the bottom. Just trying to make sure I didn't put a land on the bottom. Okay. Get things going a little bit here. Got 5 mana up and they refused to cast anything? That makes me feel like they have instant speed interaction, in which case either of these plays is really bad. If I try to Squire's Devotion this and they use Crashing Tide to put in my hand and draw a card, which they can do at instant speed as long as they have a Merfolk on board, then they completely counter it, and I'm out of luck. If I try to Luminous Bonds this and they play the Hexproof Merfolk to counter it, then it's also terrible. So either way, we get got pretty bad by instants, and they're very clearly holding up instants, so we just cast one of these spells and pray. At least this plays better if it's a bounce spell from them. Okay, it's just an actual factual cancel. Fair enough. Well, they might be flooded here at least. I haven't paid attention to if they've missed any land drops. I don't think they have, but maybe I've just missed so many that it just feels like they haven't. Well, now they're definitely not completely flooded. There's a couple more cards for them. No, Righoller, what are you doing? Cast a spell and pray here? What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 permanents? I don't even ascend, so I just have a 1/4 lifelinker sitting here. Just so I can get a 1/1 token on the board. Yeah, no thanks, I guess. Okay, there's a 1/3. That is super mediocre, which is nice. All right, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to play around removal a little bit and save the Spirewinder for later, because it's really important that we get a good creature on the board to put Squire's Devotion onto. So I'm going to drop a bunch of 3/2s first and see if they do anything to get them out of the way. But it's really important that whatever we throw Squire's Devotion on sticks around. If we hit a 5th mana, we probably Rig Holler our own Snubhorn Sentry and recast it. Because now that we got the +1/+1 counter off the Herald, that was the main value of bouncing it, since it's only 1 mana to recast it. Now I've got another Luminous Bonds, which is interesting to me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can only play 1 spell this turn, so I can't reach 10 permanents. So I guess I do cast the Spirewinder. They didn't seem to do any interaction yet. Maybe the Spirewinder gets to stick around. We look pretty stable here. They are very flooded, it looks like. Okay, double Herald is scary, but Squire's Devotion can definitely outrace them. And last card is not removal. It's a bounce spell, but they've cast it before we cast our Squire's Devotion, which is great for us. And there's the 5th mana. So I do really need to get a lifelinker down quickly here, but I'm tempted to spend the turn on Rig Holler plus Sentry because that's the most mana efficient play. We go down to 7 to do that. I think that's fine. They're playing off the top here. Thank you, Auto Tapper. Very cool. Down to 7. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could Devotion the Hauler. It is big enough to attack in on the ground here, and then we get lifelinking immediately. And we can Secrets of the Golden City draw 3 here. I think that's worth it. Get to the City's Blessing right now, because that buffs the sentries too. The lifelink really outraces them, and we draw 3. Okay, maybe not worth it for these cards. We did want these lands pretty badly earlier, but now I guess we still needed 1 more to play Spirewinder plus Bonds in 1 turn. I'm at 11 here. Let's attack all at 11 life. Okay, that's a quick turnaround. Now that we've cast the Squire's Devotion. 11 to 6 now. Siren Reaver for a 3/2 in the sky. I've got Luminous Bonds plus Spirewinder here. That's definitely the play. They can kill the Rig Holler, but it costs multiple of their creatures to do so. They're down to 3. They're facing a 3-power flyer, 2 3/3s on the ground. We've got another Luminous Bonds in hand. What a lucky game of Magic. All right, that started real bad. Started off on the other end of the luck spectrum. We had some rough mulligans into a 2-lander, 5-card hand, and then just missed that land drop for a long time. Luckily for us, our opponent didn't have a ton of pressure in terms of putting like a really quick clock on us. They just had an unblockable kind of clock there. And then they just flooded out astronomically. Like, we completely flipped the table in terms of who was getting lucky there in the end, where we found our lands and they were just getting massively unlucky with their draws like we were at the very start of the game. So, all right. Interesting game. Definitely a very high variance game of Magic. Didn't feel monumentally skill-based there. But it is interesting to see the two different ends of the luck spectrum all in one game of Magic. So we are now 1,400 gems and 3 packs as the prize at 4 wins and 2 losses. Pretty much the break-even point here. Excellent spot to be, but we'll see how far we can take it as we head into game number 7. This is a travesty. We've had some weird hands today. Do we just roll with it? Do we just give in? I've got 3 1-drops and 4 2-drops in the deck when it comes to creatures that can get attacking for these raid triggers. Only a couple 3-mana creatures, but that's 7 creatures that cost 2 or less we could draw into. Whatever. Whatever. It is what it is by now. I'm just gonna let it happen. Jesus, take the wheel. Hey, we got there. The Rig Hauler crew is active. Playing against black-white vampires here. Incredibly removal-heavy color. And that Legion Conquistador and Dusk Legion Zealot are both great little pieces of card advantage. So they've got tons of cards over there. Soul of the Rapid should be pretty good in this matchup. Like, they might have a bunch of removal sitting in their hand that just doesn't get to do anything against it. The Rig Haulers are awkward, because, I mean, it'd be fine to bounce a Legion Conquistador, but it wouldn't be great. And I was gonna say I don't have good attacks here, but if they send in the whole team, then we do. Yeah, I guess we do just bounce a Legion Conquistador, since they already probably searched their deck for all the copies. I mean, they searched their deck for so many that they had to discard this turn, so... I doubt they have more they get to search up from the Enter the Battlefield effect, and even if they do, they had another copy in hand without that one. Shut up, chair. Quit being squeaky while I'm recording. And it's kind of like fart sounds too. I've listened to some recordings, and it'll just be just a comical fart sound just in the middle of gameplay. I'm like, I don't think I decided to just rip one on cam. It's the chair. I swear to God, I promise it's the chair. Alright, Skymarcher Aspirant can trade into Soul of the Rapid, so we gotta hit one of our auras. We've got 3 in the deck that can solve that issue for us. Curious Obsession and Double Squire's Devotion. Any of them would be great draws, but I guess as long as they don't have the City's Blessing, we can still hit with Soul of the Rapids for now. They need 10 permanents and they're at 7. So I just keep bouncing their 2-drops that don't have abilities. And that slows them down and gets a couple more swings in with Soul of the Rapids. Martyr does have an ability, it just doesn't have an Enter the Battlefield ability, is what I'm talking about. By bouncing 2-drops with no abilities. Now my stomach's being real loud too. I have to go get some lunch after this recording. So in today's video, we're just going to talk about just human needs. Food and farts. I don't know what's come over. Well, I was pretty happy to trade into the Aspirant because it was threatening to be a flying blocker for the Soul of the Rapids, but since we drew the +1/+1 for the Soul of the Rapids anyway, maybe that trade wasn't actually the greatest in the world. I don't really want to bounce the Glorifier, but what else am I going to do? What else am I going to do? I'm not bouncing my own card, and I'm certainly not bouncing a Zealot. Yeah, I mean, even if it means they get more Enter the Battlefield value, like, they have to be able to deploy all of these cards by the end of this game to get all of the value of me giving them a card back. So, it's going to be hard. But yeah, since Rig Hauler can't be played till post-combat anyway, it doesn't really help us against flyers at all. So we just cash it in to slow down their attacks, slow down their stuff on the ground. If it were like a Luminous Bombs or something, I would just hold it in my hand, or a Crashing Tide even, I just hold it in my hand waiting for them to cast something that can block Soul of the Rapids. But post-combat bounce does not save Soul of the Rapids. So we'll just use it. Alright, Martyr of Dusk, Legion Conquistador is the play. Oh, they do have more Conquistadors. They've got 4 in there. Nice. What do we got? Soul of the Rapids. Find me some action. Kitesail Corsair is certainly some action. It's not quite lethal, but it's very close. 6 damage on the next attack. They're a vampire deck, so even their removal spells can gain life, so this 2-turn clock might not be a 2-turn clock. They might Moment of Craving a Kitesail Corsair, kill it and gain 2. Then they're at 9 and Soul of the Rapids has to hit them 3 times to kill them. They might play their own Squire's Devotion on a Legion Conquistador or something, gain 3 here, be at 10, and then also kill the Corsair, and then we have to hit them 3 times with Soul. A lot of things could happen. We know their hand is like all non-land cards because they've been stuck on mana a lot this game. So they've got a lot of spells here, a lot of action, and it's just going to be a Sanguine Glorifier. Buff a Legion Conquistador, try to outrace us? No attacks even. Alright. Put them to 1 and draw another card. I guess they do have to make sure they have enough blockers to block all of our ground troops to still be in the game. So they're just in a rough spot. Now they're facing off 3 flyers, one of which has hexproof. We've got the Luminous Bonds if they do try to establish a blocker. It is not looking good for our opponent. There's -2/-2 to everybody, but that still does not kill 2 of these flyers. Just block the 2/1, I guess. And hit them for 7. That is game. We are now 5-2 in the money out of this draft as we head into game number 8. Okay, no blue source is awkward, but the white spells are really, really good. And they're all 3 mana or less. So multiple castable spells already, and any land in the deck lets me cast everything except Spirewinder. And there's a blue source, which is a beautiful draw. Dusk Legion Zealot from our opponent, another black-white vampires deck. There's the 4th land to get Spirewinder down next turn. Forerunner of the Legion. Search the library for their best vampire, so their bomb rare, put it on top. Or the Vampire Lord, the uncommon. Oh my god, they got multiple Forerunners? I guess that is more likely to happen in triple Rivals of Ixalan than it was in the original format. Double Rivals in 1 Ixalan pack. But yeah, Forerunner into Forerunner is really gross. You just keep training them, and now you've got 2 on the board, so every time you play a vampire, you do +2/+2 wherever you want it. Or +1/+1 to 2 different creatures. Yeah, these abilities stack up really well, and this is kind of a nightmare. If they have removal for Spirewinder when we try to put Squire's Devotion on it, game's probably over. Our only bet here, yeah, it is Forerunner into Legion Lieutenant. Yeah, our best bet here is that they somehow have no removal and we just lifelink to stay in this game, but that's all we got here. We are getting completely overrun on the ground. I should have attacked with Sun Sentinel at least there. I want the Sentry up on blocks, but I should have sent in the Sun Sentinel because they wouldn't have had any good blocks for it because they would have had to lose a Forerunner to stop that damage. So I missed out on 2 points of damage there. I do think not attacking with Sentry's fine though, so we actually have solid blocks. But yeah, they should be at 9 right now, so if that ends up being relevant, then that is on me. Send in just the Zealot. All right. Double Luminous Bonds. I'm fairly sure I'm just doing this if they play Flyers, because they haven't played removal. They had 5 mana up and they didn't go for removal there. I think with a 4-power lifelink, you would have just gone for removal if you had it, unless it's instant speed removal, and we have to say goodbye to Spirewinder now. Wow, and the Sentry clears out a Forerunner? Okay. I've got 6 mana to cast 2 Luminous Bonds in 1 turn. If that ends up mattering. This is crazy. They're black-white and they don't have removal here. Super unexpected. But I'm happy with it. Very happy with it. It's a Rig Hauler. Well, all the Sky Marcher can do is chump block this turn anyway, so I'm going to actually play the Rig Hauler instead of the Luminous Bonds, and that forces them to recast that as a chumper. And they spend all their mana on that, and we just bonds it and win if they don't draw removal. Kind of looks like they drew a Swamp this turn. Okay. I'm not going to block because we can double Luminous Bonds and try to kill them on the ground too if Spirewinder gets cleared out here. Double Luminous Bonds means they block the 3/2 take 3. Golden Demise doesn't do anything against the only important card. Boom! Super lucky game there. They were the most removal-heavy colors in the format, and they could not draw removal for the lifelinking Spirewinder, and means it's just going to take the game there. Really, really powerful deck from our opponent too. The double Forerunner into the Vampire Lord. Solid luck on that one, and that brings us to 6-2. Very, very much in the money, getting great value out of this draft. And we're heading into the final boss of the event, the final game of Magic, win or lose. And here we are for that final boss. We got the turn 1 Sentry. That can help raid a Rig Hauler in, but we've also got the great flying finishers and a Luminous Bonds if we need to get defensive. Alright, so I can already just block the Swashbuckler, plus since I'm on the draw I don't have the mana to bonds it yet anyway. Uh-oh, Strider Harness, so anything they play gets +1/+1 haste. Costs some mana to do that. Still not going to Luminous Bonds yet. I may have to Luminous Bonds the Swashbuckler though, because it can be a double striker once they've ascended. And that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 permanents. And that threatens to be a 3/3 double striker as well. I'll play my Flyers here. Maybe I should have played Luminous Bonds instead of Sun Sentinel last turn. Just throwing that at the Swashbuckler. Okay, Dusk Charger. Are they going to cash in the treasure? I'd be really happy with that. Because they're at 9 permanents right now. If they cash in the treasure, they're at 8 and they're farther away from ascending. Okay, they're not going to. They're just going to hit me with the freebooter. All right. Okay. Well, we know our game plan over here. Is it worth trying to hold them off the City's Blessing and just bounce this Dusk Charger so they recast it here? Probably not, because if they top deck a land, they play a land, cast a Dusk Charger, they've hit the City's Blessing, they then slam a Strider Harness on something and just jam in. Yeah, I think I'm just playing a Soul of the Rapids then instead of trying to bounce anything for value. Get our flying clock to speed up a little bit so we can try to outrace these beefy ground troops. Well, we lose. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I got a bunch of text, so I had to look away for a second, but I looked back and they have Tetzamok, which is one of the most egregious bomb rares in Limited of all time. It's a 6 mana 6/6 Death Touch that's also a one-sided board wipe, killing your opponent's entire board when you cast it. So we just lose. It's as simple as that, really, honestly. I mean, they can't kill Soul of the Rapids, but they wipe the rest of our board. All we can do is chump block here. We might as well, since they've got the mana to cast that next turn anyway. And they're gonna cast it to kill Spirewinder at the very least, so stop 4 damage by doing this. 9 damage total getting stopped. We take 3. Yeah, Tetsamok is egregious. It's in the limited Hall of Fame of best bombers of all time. It is just auto won this match for them. Okay. Yeah, they have the 6 mana up. Now we're super far from the City's Blessing. Again, if I had not seen a Tetsamok in their hand, if I knew that they couldn't blow up our whole board here, we could have held off a couple of those blocks to try to get City's Blessing here and have like reasonable blocks this turn. But anything we keep around is just dying to Tetsamok, so it doesn't matter. And I can like Luminous Bonds a 5/5, or I can Luminous Bonds a double striker, but then they've got a 6/6 down. We've got nothing left. If they don't top deck another land, then the Deadeye Rig Hauler can actually slow them down a little bit. Maybe there's something to that. If they hit another land, then they just put a prey count on Rig Hauler and kill us. But they do have to spend 1 mana. Great. They do have to spend 1 mana for the prey counter, so it's 7 mana to target this and then cast. Man, what a sad way to end this. Tetsamok is a big stain on this format. It's a super frustrating rare. Yeah. If this were another land instead of a Soul of the Rapids, then I don't think we just die here, because I could Luminous Bonds this and bounce that, then chump that. No, we'd still die, because they have the Strider Harness. They just recast it and give it haste. Or cast this and give it haste. Yeah, no. Alright, that's Tetsamok for you. Rips this last one away, and it wasn't much of a game. So we are 6-3 in the end. Really good showing from our deck overall. When you consider that our losses were really, I think, unwinnable for a lot of decks in this format. We had to mulligan to 6 on the draw against that really aggressive red-white deck. So we were just going to get crushed there with most decks that have to mulligan on the draw against something that aggressive. And then Tetsamok, doing Tetsamok things for that loss. I forgot what our first loss was, or maybe our second loss. I remember now, we had a blue-white mirror match, so that's going to stall out because each player has the flyers to block the other player's flyers. And they had multiple rares that were great in a board stall. 2 card draw rares with Archer Orazka and Kumena's Awakening, and then also the just endless token engine of the Golem spell that spits out those 4/4s every turn. Yeah, I think all in all, considering that those were the 3 losses, I don't think there's much we could have done for the most part. I think we ended up with a pretty solid deck. We fought pretty hard, got a 6-3 run, and our 3 losses were against some very good decks with some very good curves, or just incredibly explosive bombs. This is a really nice showing from this deck, and I think about as good as we could have hoped for today against the opponents that we ran up against. So 6-3 it is. Don't quite get to make it to a 7-win run in this format, sadly, but we are up in value quite a bit today, so there is that. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and members for their support, as well as you for watching this video. If you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.